Hey guys, it's Nip, and in this video I'll show you how to use the TH9 attack strategy called Zap-Quake quad LaLo. And that means we're using a Zap-Quake, 2 lightnings and an earthquake to take out 1 air defense, and 4 hounds and rest loons to take out the rest of the base. The basic principle in any air raid which uses hounds is that you basically want to have 1 hound more than the number of air defenses remaining. So in this case we're zapping 1 air defense out, so that means we need to have 4 hounds for the remaining 3 air defenses, 1 more hound. So let me just get into a raid here and kind of show you how to plan a TH9 Zap-Quake quad LaLo. So the first thing is always, in any raid, the clan castle. You need to lure it out and kill it. So in this raid I knew that the CC wasn't gonna be an issue, so I didn't lure it out, but if I was doing this raid in like war or something, I would. And how can we do that in this base when we can clearly see that the clan castle already is inside all these defenses here? The only way could be sending in a hound, but we don't want to do that. It's 30 camp space, and I think we can do it with basically at least 20 here with 4 loons. So we can send in 2 loons to this cannon, for example, and right after that 2 loons to this archer tower. So that way we can have this cannon taken out, and the 2 loons that destroy the archer tower will go to this mortar next. And of course we need to zap out this air defense in order for our loons here to survive long enough to lure out the full clan castle. But as I said, I didn't lure out the clan castle here. So if I did, the way to kill it is just lure it out, drop an archer where it's outside the range of any defenses to lure the clan castle over, and just drop the rest of the archers to distract it, and drop the queen behind to kill any clan castle troops. So what's next after killing the clan castle? We want to look at the air defenses and zap one out. But how do we decide which one to destroy? We have basically 2 things to keep in mind here. The first one is that we want this raid always to end on the queen. And that means we want to leave out the air defense that's closest to the queen. So we couldn't zap out this one, because then there wasn't gonna be any place for our hounds to go that's close to the queen. So we know that this is the air defense we want our hounds to fly last to. So what about this one? Looks good to you? Now we kind of see that we could be sending in our hounds from here, and they would indeed fly here, proceed here, and end on the queen, but we can see that basically this whole upper side of the base will be untanked by the hounds, because they only target air defenses first, and the hounds would be basically flying this little tiny path here, and this whole upper side would be for the loons alone to take care of. So what about this one? It's the same air defense basically, just on the other side. So the most reasonable air defense to zap out is this one, because then we can see that we can send in hounds here, and they'll fly next here and end on the queen. So yeah, once you've zapped one out, you want to start the hounds so that they fly over any air targeting defenses, such as these archer towers here. And you want to always start your loons from the first defense of the defensive ring. And what that means is that once you know which air defense you want to target first with your hounds, you kind of want to look at the defenses around it. And in this case, the general direction of the raid is gonna be going from around 3 o'clock counterclockwise around the base. So the first defense in the defensive ring, and the defensive ring basically means these outside defenses here that our loons can directly target. So the first defense would be this archer tower, because there's not basically any defenses around here. So when we take this out, our loons won't have to like backtrack back here, and they can just fly onwards in this direction. So and yeah, when you start the hound deployment, you always want to send in 2 hounds to the first air defense, but you don't want to drop the hounds in from the same spot, and that's because you want them to tank as many air targeting defenses as possible, and also to soak up as many air traps as possible. So I think I sent in the first hound in from like here, and the other one here. So then they cover a lot more ground than they would if I just dropped them both from the same spot. And about the earthquake placement, you can kind of try to grab other defenses with it as well. You don't have to drop the earthquake right on the air defense. It's gonna be enough if the spell just touches it. So you can kind of try to get an X-bow as well. That can be very valuable, and also just any other defenses you can. So the first hound has come down, and I'm just targeting 2 loons to each defense behind the hound. 2 loons will take out any defense that you usually see on the outside of the base. So the next hound came down. As you can see, they came in from different angles to cover as much ground as possible. And usually you want to wait for the first air defense to go down before you target the next one, because you want to minimize the amount of air defense that are shooting at the same time to minimize the incoming damage. But in this case, I noticed that this whole upper side of the base, there wasn't any air defenses there, so I needed to send in my hound early, so my loons would have something to tank for them up here. So basically that would mean my loons can just sort of come in from here, and after that they can move in a wave from upper right towards the middle. And as you can see, I have 2 rage spells, and somebody may be wondering like, why am I not dropping them? And that's basically because I can see that all these defenses here are shooting at my hounds, and if you look at my loons here, they're all at full health, and that means they don't need any spells. You want to save your spells for places where there's high DPS, or basically you just need the loons to be better. So I'm holding on to my spells for as long as possible. Sometimes that can even mean the whole raid. So now I can see these Teslas are starting to pop up. So that means I might want to drop a rage there to take them out faster. And here I can see that this air defense is already starting to shoot at my previous hound, so I send in the next one. I don't want this air defense to be left up like that the loons are coming in but there's no hound there. So as long as there's a hound alive there, you're good. So now we can see that the poison has been dropped on the queen. As soon as the queen gets these like exclamation marks on her head, you want to drop the poison. You don't want to be wasting any time, so be very careful. And now we can see that there's like a lot of pops here, and more will be coming. And I just dropped the rage on the queen. That's kind of the most important defense that the base has here, because if you look at this base, I dropped a couple backside loons to these wish towers here to take them out, and now at this point, after this air defense goes down, the base is pretty much freestarred. So the rage pop take the queen out at ease, and I didn't even need my heroes for this raid. So basically just zapping out the correct air defense and dropping in my hounds in correct order and in from correct places with my loons behind and holding on to my spells, we freestarred this base pretty easily. So let's look at another base. Let's see. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, now so what's the first thing we wanna do? It's always gonna be the clan castle. So we need to lure it out and kill it. So how do we do that in this base? Where we can see that also in this base all the defenses are inside the range. So well, I think maybe one loon may be able to get the CC lure here, or maybe two loons. But it's kind of risky, and you always want to play it safe, especially in war if it's the first raid. So what I might do is I can see that these archer towers are safely in range of the CC, so I might send in just two loons here and two here, so I know that at least one of them is gonna be flying to this archer tower, luring out the CC, and then I could just basically drop an archer around this gold storage, wait for the CC to come over, drop the rest of the archers and the queen behind, and that would be the CC taken care of. So next is the air defenses. So how do we decide which air defense to zap out? Again, you always want to end on the queen. And as you can see, I chose to zap out this air defense here. And why is that? It's because I can kind of see that these two air defenses here are overlapping, and that means I need to send in at least like 3 hounds, so all of them will live through all that high DPS that's gonna be coming in. And there's not really like any other way to deal with these tightly knit air defenses other than spamming in your hounds from different angles, of course, and just dropping 2 loons to each defense behind them. So that's exactly what I did. Let's see. And again, it's important that you end on the queen, so I couldn't, for example, send in the first hound here, because they're gonna be going up here and away from the queen. So I dropped 3 hounds, all from different spots, so they can basically tank all these defenses here. And 2 loons to each defense behind them, and this sweeper is kind of being problematic. I'm pushing my loons back, but that's okay. I just dropped a rage early, so my loons can get in there faster. And I dropped an early poison as well, so as you can see, I didn't drop the poison where the queen is, I dropped it where the queen will be. So now I'm just kind of chilling and waiting for my loons to get to the queen and all these expos and stuff. And the last hound from the CC went in early. And why did I drop it? It's because I can see that what's left in the base is basically this bottom side here, and I don't want my loons and stuff be flying over the queen like in this direction and over her, and basically like going over her and then having to come back to her. I want the raid to end exactly on the queen. So I dropped this hound early so I can drop balloons here to take these defenses out already, so by the time these loons get to the queen, it's gonna be basically the end of the raid. And I also saw that my loons here unfortunately skipped this wizard tower here, so I just dropped two separate loons to take it out. So now the queen's kind of, as you can see, she's inside the poison spell right now, so let's see what happens here. Now I'm just waiting for my big pack of loons here to come over. So now the rage came down on the Teslas and the important areas of the base, so basically now I'm just looking at the loons go and waiting for my pops or something to kill the queen. Maybe a couple of backside loons to the cannon would have been nice, but I saw I had so much stuff left that I didn't really need anything extra. And that's 3-star on this base. When the queen's like only level 15 or something, you don't even need to take her that seriously, to be honest. You need to account for her, but usually she's not gonna be a huge problem. And again, I didn't even need my heroes, so that's just maybe gives an idea of how good this strategy actually is. So let's go to live raid here. Alright, so let's see if I can find a base in a couple of searches here. If not, I'll just skip straight to the raid for you guys. I haven't been finding like very good bases, at least very quickly. It takes usually at least like 10 to 15 searches. Okay guys, so I think I found a base. It took me forever to find this one, but anyways, let's see, what's the first thing? The clan castle. It's an easy lure in this base, and we need to end on the queen, so I think I'll be zapping out this bottom air defense here. So, okay, let's go. Couple loons to lure out any CC. Zap-Quake here, grab the X-bow as well. And now the hounds. Couple loons behind. Next hound in. Couple more loons, and now I just wait for the air defense to go down before I send in any more hounds or loons. There we go. Next hound in. Couple more loons, couple more. These balloons are kind of getting wrecked in the core, so I dropped the raids there. I think that one loon's gonna do work. And now I want this upper group to path to the core, so I dropped my last hound in a bit earlier than I first planned. And now rage on the queen, so the pups will kill her, and couple loons to this last wizard tower on the bottom here. And that's a 3-star. So basically all you need to do is just kill any clan castle troops, then you select which AD you zap out, and you wanna end the raid on the queen, and then you just send in hounds, wait for the air defense to go down, and then you target the next air defense and follow in with 2 loons to each defense behind the hounds, and that's gonna get you so many 3-stars. So let's drop these last troops here and watch the base fall. So that's Town Hall 9, Zap-Quake Quad LaLo. I hope you guys all learned something from this video, and again, if you want to ask anything or have any other questions, you can just comment on this video and I'll answer you as best as I can. So okay, I'll see you in the next video. Nip out.